All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're about to take a look at the absolute madness that occurred in downtown Chicago this weekend near Millennium Park. You had people vandalizing cars, vandalizing public transportation buses, just absolute chaos out in the streets. It's looking like the purge out there. We're about to take a look at this. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe while we're watching. Now let's roll it.
Oh shit, oh my god. Damn.
Moppy, don't run. Come over here.
They chasing me with the gun. Now we got a person shot.
You guys, and just to comment on this a little bit so far, I mean, this ain't no protest or nothing. These kids just out here, what they would probably call just having a good time, or what. I don't know. I'm technically Gen Z, but I'm definitely far separated from from this younger generation, at least in terms of a mentality and an upbringing. It's just no excuse for this type of behavior. And I could speak on this from two angles. One, I was born in Chicago. I'm not a Chicago resident, so I don't currently live in the city, the heart of Chicago. Chicago is huge, you know, that could be a lot of different places, but I don't live downtown. I don't live in the city, but I'm also black. And when I look at this crowd, unfortunately, the majority, the color I see most in this crowd is black. And, you know, it's just, it's crazy that, you know, if you just call out what you see with your own eyes, you know, as a black person, you know, if you just call out that, yeah, you know, this is majority, you know, young black kids out here just terrorizing the streets. You know, it's people that'll want to label you something or call you a coon or whatever, bro. It's just stupid. You know, I'm a sole believer that nothing will get fixed by putting blame on something else. You know, my eyes work very clear. I'm sure there's some, you know, some young Latinos in the crowd that, you know, it could be some white kids. I don't know. But when I see who's the main people orchestrating all this chaos in the streets, it's young black kids. And if that make me a Tom for saying it, then so be it. But like I said, how will we ever improve as a people, as a culture? How will we ever improve if we can't just call out, plain English, our own bad behaviors? How will we get better by saying this is white supremacy's fault, or saying that this is poverty's fault, or saying that this is, you know, the white man's fault? You know, this is just terrible parenting. It's terrible parenting. You know, when I was younger, and before I would go outside, my mom especially, she would say a lot, you know, you represent me, you represent your parents, your family when you go outside. And that's what's really important about having a good family structure, because they will tell you things like that so that, when you are outside. And don't get me wrong, like, I remember being a kid, and, I remember being in, mix-ups, let's just say similar to this. You know what I'm saying? Probably not this crazy, but, out at the park or whatever, it's crowds, it's people fighting, it's people doing this, people doing that, where you have a chance to either engage as a youth, you have a chance to either engage in the negativity, in the craziness, or, you have a chance to step away from it and realize, you know what? Let me not follow down this path that all these crazy kids is going down, because like my mom said, I represent my parents. I'm not trying to be another statistic getting shot by the cops because I ran away or did something dumb. I'm not trying to be another statistic going to jail. I'm not trying to play into the already stereotype that exists. But unfortunately, this crowd is the stereotype. This is the stereotype. And this is just terrible parenting. All right, guys. So those are just a couple of clips recorded from people's phones so you can see it, up close and personal, what was going on down there. And I got a clip right here from Fox 32 Chicago that I'm going to play for you guys. But before I roll this clip, it's just one more thing I got to share with you guys. Me personally, I think that where we have went wrong in today's society is just this live and let be type of attitude, where you're not supposed to criticize nobody. You're not supposed to tell somebody else's kids what to do. There's no real sense of community. You see somebody getting stabbed or getting beat up or getting robbed, you just look the other way. You don't call the police. You record it on your phone and just upload it for social. It's like nobody cares. There's no real sense of a community anymore, in the sense that people actually care about what's happening to their fellow Chicagoan, to their fellow neighbor, to their fellow person. My mother grew up in Chicago, and she tells me stories sometimes about what it was like growing up. And, she'll tell me stories of how sometimes when she was out too late, or when a kid was out too late, if any one of the neighbors within a 3-block radius of your house saw you outside, they'll yell outside and say, I'm going to tell your mom, I'm going to tell your dad. That's what a community is, where people in the neighborhood actually care enough about the other family 3 blocks down, to the point where if they see your kid outside up to no good doing something that they're not supposed to do, they're going to report that to your parents. It's like a system of checks and balances that actually used to work, that used to keep kids in line. They used to, help to keep communities in line, at least to some extent. And obviously I wasn't raised in that time, but you can tell that now we're on the complete opposite side of the spectrum, where absolutely nobody cares. Now you say the wrong thing to somebody, or you criticize someone and how they're parenting or how their kid is acting, and you never know, you might get shot. You might get beat up. It's a crazy world that we living in right now, man. But let me play this clip for you guys real quick. Let's take a look.
Some breaking news off the top. Hundreds of teens flooding into downtown Chicago tonight, smashing car windows, trying to get into Millennium Park, prompting a major police response. Within the past few minutes, shots were fired near the corner of Madison and Michigan. Now, we had a news crew on the scene, but they had to move because of safety concerns. I was there a little bit earlier, about an hour and a half ago, and saw police escorting tourists and visitors to their cars in the Millennium Park parking garage. The crowd was trying to get into Millennium Park, but there are checkpoints that are not allowing anyone under the age of 21 who's not with an adult to get in. So they're massing across the street on the other side of Michigan Avenue. I spoke to a woman whose car was smashed by people jumping on the windshield. She says the crowd began beating her husband as he sat in the driver's seat. He's now been sent to Northwestern Memorial Hospital. I also talked to a woman, a Chicago native, who was appalled by what she saw.
What I see out here is completely ludicrous, to be honest with you. I'm appalled at what I see. I'm from Chicago, and I understand kids having a good time, but this is simply bad parenting. We have to do better as parents. Our kids should not be out here. Where are their parents at? That's my question.
The situation continues to develop at this hour. As we mentioned, we have a reporter on the scene, but there are some security concerns. Fox 32's Nate Rogers is...
This kid right here almost got ran over. Look at him.
As we mentioned, we have a reporter on the scene, but there are some security concerns.
Look at that. What if that car didn't stop? This little boy would have got ran over.
Concerns. Fox 32's Nate Rogers is on Michigan Avenue in a protective position. Nate, can you tell us what you see right now?
Yeah, that's right, Dane. As you just mentioned, we're downtown on Michigan and Randolph. I'm actually probably a block away from a lot of where the chaos has originated. Right now, Chicago police are trying to clear Michigan Avenue, at least from Randolph until maybe 3 or 4 blocks south on Michigan. Very active scene indeed. Hundreds of officers working this investigation. There are reports, unconfirmed by Chicago police, of multiple people shot at Michigan and Washington, also Michigan and Wabash. The Chicago Fire Department, we're told, is here along with paramedics and Chicago SWAT teams, all assisting in this investigation. Now, the chaos here downtown began or erupted just before 8 p.m. Several hundred young people traveling in groups, kids seen jumping barricades into Millennium Park, also jumping on top of cars. Other reports indicated large groups trying to force their way into the Art Institute. This appears to be one of those teen takeovers that we saw last year, publicized widely on social media, attracting thousands into the downtown area as well as to Chicago area beaches. The teens are seen with their cell phones out, Bluetooth music speakers blasting, dancing while recording videos, hoping that they'll go viral. Now, I'm back out here live really just within the last 10 minutes or so ago. My photographer and I, Raphael, we heard at least 4 gunshots while we were standing at Michigan and Washington. We ran along with another TV news crew just to get to safety. Maybe 5 minutes after that, we heard even more gunshots. And so right now, Chicago police are trying to clear this area. If you can see from where I'm standing right now, gridlock traffic indeed. I mean, Chicago police here in great numbers, along with the Chicago Fire Department, paramedics. We understand that SWAT teams are here as well. A lot of folks are being rerouted to nearby public transportation just so they can get home. We also have seen police trying to escort tourists back into their hotels. Chicago police working right now to get a handle on all of this. We haven't received any updated information on if there have been any victims associated with any of this. That is the latest here in downtown Chicago. Nate Rogers, Fox 32 Chicago.
All right, guys, so y'all heard that. I just wanted to give you guys some footage at first so we could see and discuss that for itself, and then, you know, the news coverage of it. You know, this happening near Millennium Park. Like, Millennium Park is one of the biggest tourist destinations in Chicago. That's where the Bean is. You know, imagine what type of impression this leaves on people. You know, it was tourists down here. This is happening while tourists are here. Chicago is is a touristy place downtown. It's always people coming into Chicago from, you know, all over the world. And this is the impression that is being left. Yeah, just absolutely ridiculous. You know, it's no excuse for this type of behavior. I'm not going to see something like this and then try to, you know, push the blame onto somewhere else. No, you know, the parents of these kids, shame on them. You know what? Just shame on them. This is hooligan behavior. You know, I don't care if it was black kids, Latino kids, white kids. It don't matter. If you're doing stuff like this, this is hooligan behavior. You need your ass whooped. You need your ass whooped promptly and swiftly. A boot to the behind. Like, you know, that's all I can say. And, you know, and these are young kids. These are teenagers. The reality is, man, if it's no discipline in the home, then you're going to have to get the discipline in the streets, whether that be from, you know, somebody who ain't a cop beating you up, killing you, any type of thing, or, you know what I'm saying, running with the law. But unfortunately, the law ain't disciplining people the way they should be in Chicago. And a new mayor just got put in who, you know, in 2020 was talking about defunding the police. You know, he doesn't believe in giving kids Fs. You know, as an educator, he didn't believe in failing kids and, you know, and giving them bad grades when they do bad work or don't do work. You know, I really think, you know, we are doing things ass backwards here. Like we are witnessing ass backwardness. And when things go wrong or when things go bad, we want to put the blame somewhere else instead of just speaking to directly what the problem is. You know, the people who are out here doing this stuff. But yeah, guys, to wrap up, to the people who live in the city and live near it, you know, who don't think that this is a bad look, you know, this is the next generation. This is the up and coming generation. And imagine, you know, they don't care about embarrassing their parents, embarrassing their family. They don't care about going downtown, you know, in some of the quote unquote nicest areas in Chicago and, you know, running around causing an absolute madness. If they'll do this here, they will do this stuff anywhere, you know. And like I said, we got, you know, Chicago has a newly elected mayor who, you know, has on record spoken about, you know, being softer on crime and reallocating funds from police and so on and so forth. So, man, it's going to be long. It's going to be a long spring. It's going to be a long summer. You know, I'm not hoping for bad things to happen, but, you know, change has to be made, you know, to correct a lot of this terrible behavior, you know, policy change, change in the home, parenting change, just, you know, accountability change. A lot of changes got to be made. But with all that being said, let me know what you guys thought about this in the comments down below. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe on your way out the door. And until next time, you guys, I'm out of here. Peace.